Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Jeremy Schumacher. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm the Jer in Wellness with Jer. You could be anywhere on the internet today. You could be learning something new or looking up feet pics or destroying our environment with generative large language models. But you're here with me, and that's cool. I appreciate that. Here to talk about a movie. Spoiler-free review so far. I loved it, obviously. Right? Did Yorgos Lanthimos make a new weird film? Obviously, I loved it. Right? Um, this is my kind of film. It's darkly funny, kind of bleak, very tongue-in-cheek, dry humor, and also like pretty good mental health. You know what I loved about the movie from a mental health perspective, I didn't like about the movie is like a film. Right. What I think happened story-wise undoes some of what I liked about it from a mental health perspective. Anyway, I loved it. If you didn't go see it, go see it. It's good. It's a remake of like 2003 sci-fi, not an English movie. That sounded more pro colonizer than I meant it to be. I don't remember if it was which other country did it first, but this is a remake. I didn't know that when I went to go see it. I did read the plot synopsis of the original, and it does seem to be like just a straight remake in English, though. But Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons are fantastic in it. Probably not Emma Stone's best Yorgos Lanthimos movie now that she's done a bunch of them, but yeah, Jesse Plemons was very good in it. Emma Stone's different than how she's been in it. They just worked really well together in this film. It was a very lovely film from a visual perspective. Lots of bright colors, sort of like saturated vibes. It's just very. It was a like enjoyable watch. Other than some of the grisly violence. But no, I mean, frame of reference, right? Like I'm neurodivergent. I'm a therapist. I work with mental health on the daily. I like movies that make me feel something without being like kitschy and without being like just what I do for work. Like I don't want to watch a movie about a couple falling in love and then getting divorced. I'm a marriage therapist. Like pass. I'm not going to spend money on that. People pay me to help them with that. Like I like weird things. I like things that make you think. I like things that elicit an emotional response, which usually means like really, really weird movies or dark, sort of bleak movies are my jam. I'm the person who's like, what do you mean you haven't seen Requiem for a Dream? What are you doing right now? We should go watch it. And that's somebody who maintains that like that's not a fun movie to watch. I just feel strongly that people should watch it. This is not that bleak. This is a dark comedy. It is funny. There are parts that are humorous, I think, for most people. I don't know. I'm so neurodivergent and pretty much interacting with other neurodivergent people all the time. I don't know that I can say that anymore. I don't know that I can tell that anymore. There are some people who was like I got my nephew's tickets to go see it because I thought they would enjoy it, but not like my brother and sister-in-law because I didn't think they would enjoy it. So I think I'm going to say end of spoiler-free review here. Continue watching at your own peril because I do have to do some plot point reveal in order to say why I liked certain aspects of it. So go see it. I recommend it. I really enjoyed it. All right. So the plot is sort of Teddy and Don are these two bee farmers, and they kidnap a CEO because Teddy is pretty sure she's an alien. And they need to get to the alien ship before the lunar eclipse. That's the plot. What I liked about it from a mental health perspective is Michelle, as played by Emma Stone, the high-powered CEO, is like unlikable. She's like callously likable. She's very corporate likable. She says good things. She gets good words. She keeps asking people to participate in a dialogue with her. Like, I'm a collaborative language therapist. Like, yes, let's co-create a dialogue together. Those are my words. I use those words. But when she uses them, they're disingenuous. And like, that's good layered acting when you can be playing a character that is acting disingenuous and that comes through on the screen, right? Like, she doesn't believe the things she's saying. She's saying the things because she knows they're corporate approved. And yeah, she's unlikable. Her company is implied to have done some harm to the environment and also like released a drug that harmed a bunch of people, which becomes relevant to the plot later. She puts out a memo for like, let's not work past. You're not required, or it's not mandatory to put in overtime. You're not required to work past 5:30. Feel free to go home when you're ready. And by being ready, we mean when you're done with your work. But like, feel free to leave as long as you don't have anything else to do. And it's very like corporate synergy, grind culture, nonsense bullshit that she delivers pleasantly, but thus making her unlikable. The other thing is they do some filming sequences showing her like taking self-defense classes, which is interesting because like CEOs do this. And the only reason I know this is a client. I had a client years ago who did this. They worked with very wealthy people on like self-defense from groups of people, like from 4 or 5 kidnappers. What do you do, and how do you fight that off? And it's one of the regrets in my career that I didn't take this client up on the offer to go to one of those trainings, because I really should have, and I wanted to. And at that point in my career, I was not cool or self-confident enough to take a client up on like a human offer. So it's like, ooh, therapeutic dual relationship, need to avoid those, blah, blah, blah. And like, just, not showing up as a human. But that would have been fun to do, I think. So she does that, and then she gets kidnapped anyways. But I thought that was funny. She's unlikable. She's like not a good person, as we meet her in the movie. And then she gets kidnapped. So then, again, like the acting in this movie is very good because it's so layered and nuanced, because we have this unlikable character who we know is very fake, who then goes through sort of what colloquially is known as Stockholm syndrome, where you're connecting with your kidnapper and actually form a bond with them. And it's like, right, she's doing that to be manipulative. And then, later, as the plot continues to unfold, we're like, is she an alien or is she not an alien? But before we get into the is she an alien or not, like, I do think her representation of somebody who's been kidnapped, and also somebody who's very used to having power and people just listen to them at all costs all the time, losing power, and how she sort of goes from like, I'm in charge here, as I make demands and work with you, if you listen to me it will help you, into sort of like, well, I'm gonna go for like total agreement, and I'm gonna listen to all the things they tell me to do, and then I'm gonna like be super kind and fun response them, and runs the gamut of like these options she has as she's chained to this bed in a basement where she doesn't know where she is, and she doesn't know how to contact anyone. Also, when she gets kidnapped, they drug her. They like put a tranquilizer needle in her thigh, so all her self-defense is sort of useless. And it's again, I think it's a reminder, in a weird way, in a film that's ultimately very human, even though it's about aliens. Um, that like all this stuff, the gym bro culture, and like do your creatine powder, and all these things that are like pretty overtly not good for your body based on how your body expels them. Um, the like health and wellness crowd, the anti-aging crowd, Peter Thiel drinking the blood of young virgins or whatever he does to stay young but looking like a hobgoblin. I think it's okay to make fun of billionaires' looks. The Yeah, like there are all these things that are so very unhuman and about like peak performance and UFC, blah blah blah, mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu black belt. Like I can kick something really hard. My name's Joe Rogan. All of that nonsense is like, great. Like we're just a meat sack wrapped around bones, full of hormones and chemicals. And if you understand the chemicals going on, like it's very easy to manipulate. And so, right, she does all this training and like, whatever, right? Maybe if you weren't ruining the world, billionaire CEOs, you wouldn't have to worry about being kidnapped. Um, I don't feel good saying that because, like, obviously, women have been kidnapped throughout history because sometimes people are just bad. Anyway, but yeah, all that is to say, peak performance and all that stuff like really goes out the window because, like, right, we're just meat sacks wrapped around bones full of chemicals, and if you put certain chemicals in us, it all shuts down anyway. Like, you can't. There's no peak performance around biology. Um, and even for the alien part, like, right, there's things that happen to diminish the aliens' powers in this movie. So even the sci-fi part recognizes that, like, yes, if aliens were to exist, they would also be biology. This has been a thing I've been on lately. I think a lot of my clients are dealing with aging parents who are not aging gracefully, and um, I think it's good to like recognize our own mortality and like be aware of that and not scared of it. I think that's helpful to live a healthy life. It wasn't like a main thrust in the movie, other than I do think it's a very human film. Um, Teddy and Don. Don has some sort of cognitive issue, an intellectual delay, perhaps. It's not quite clear. I think he's like socially awkward and has a stutter, but it does seem that there's some sort of cognitive delay there. And Teddy definitely takes advantage of that. And so we have this like really interesting juxtaposition between this high-powered CEO who's taking advantage of natural resources and people's time and energy and extracting her wealth from other people's labor. And that's all very bad and wrong. But we're not really on like Teddy's side because he's sort of manipulating Don even into like being chemically castrated. And that's not good. So there's a lot of layers of like control, and like no one's really doing anything from a collaborative or consensual perspective. It's all coercive and kind of gross. And right, like I don't support kidnapping people. I don't think CEOs should exist, but I don't think that solution is kidnapping them and chaining them to a bed in the basement just to give their money away until they're not billionaires anymore. And then if they want to continue to be awful people, they can, but without harming everything else. The yeah, so like Teddy's kind of unlikable. And then as the movie unfolds, we learn that like Teddy's mom was harmed by this company. And and then, like Teddy, who's sort of manipulating Don and kidnapping people and seems to be an unwell conspiracy theorist. Uh then we feel bad for him. So again, this movie is like very human in the sense of like these are bad people, and like we can feel empathy for them. We can feel bad for them given their situation, and we can say, "Hey, that's not a helpful action you took based on your situation." But we can at least get in the frame of mind of like understanding why they took that action. It's not what was helpful; it made the situation worse, obviously, hence driving the plot forward in the movie. But I think being able to see where these people are coming from, and even Don too, right? Like he's definitely coerced into it, and he's sort of the tragic figure in the film. But you can see why the family like lost their farm, and family members died from getting sick, and like if Teddy and Don are cousins, and like Teddy is Don's only friend. Teddy is Don's protector, and without being manipulative or coercive, and Teddy is manipulative and coercive, but without that, you can still see where Don would very readily follow Teddy for like healthy reasons, for sustainable reasons, for community. And so that makes it all the more sad that Teddy is the way he is to Don. Now, again, the sci-fi part of the movie turns out Teddy's right, and that the CEO is an alien. And so that I think it doesn't complicate some of the messaging. It just like, this isn't a movie with a straightforward message on all these things because Michelle is really an alien and therefore Teddy's right. And so like, then some of the manipulation and coercion is good. I don't know. Like, obviously I wouldn't go so far as to say it's good. it ends up being justified. And again, I work with religious trauma and being raised evangelical. There's a lot of like ends justify the means in this movie, and none of that is good. And it doesn't, right? Like getting to your means as way of doing harm to other people means like you did it poorly. And so, yeah, we also see that Teddy has killed and dismembered several other people, two other aliens, but some that weren't. And so, yeah, like Teddy's a serial killer. It's not good. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting. It's interesting, I think. I really liked the commentary up until it's revealed that the CEO is actually an alien, and then it just sort of became a fun, silly black comedy as opposed to like this film with a really strong, coherent message. The message is still there, I think. I just think it loses some of its coherence, which is fine. It's a film. It's entertainment. Um, the Teddy's like this hardcore conspiracy theorist, right? And so the things that he sees as alien characteristics are not alien characteristics. They're like some genetic traits, but that would follow humans as well. One of them is like an earlobe thing. That's the only one that I knew was like, well, like that's this percentage of the population. And whatever. I know a lot of weird research and data points just they're in my brain from learning them somewhere. So that's the only one where I was like, no. But there's like a really uncomfortable torture scene. And that's where I think for people who are thinking this is just straight conspiracy theories, like that's unrealistic. She would have died in the torture scene. And it's like, oh, because like maybe she's an alien. And so even somebody who's like watching the movie skeptically, I do think the movie pulls you in, no matter where your stance is, on like into the question of, is she actually an alien? Is Teddy right? Is she playing Teddy? Is she lying? Is it a double bluff? Like it's well done from that perspective. But there's the torture scene is unpleasant, supposed to be unpleasant. But in the torture scene, so there's it's electrocuting her, and she's taking a lot of voltage that a human wouldn't be able to take, and so it's like, wait, well, that's not a human then. So she really is an alien. Teddy takes this to confirm she is both an alien and royalty. And so again, you're like left with like, well, that's like a leap, because we don't have that information, and what is that coming from? And so it seems to be whatever information we give a conspiracy theorist, they will fold it into their conspiracy. And generally speaking, conspiratorial thinking does not require good internal consistency and isn't logical. And so that's like a very realistic reaction to something where I think a lot of people have watched like Trump and the rise of MAGA in America be like, oh, well, once they see if we show them the right evidence, and that's not the way that conspiratorial thinking works. These are decisions that have not been formed based on like sound logic. You don't put the guy who's bad at running a casino in charge of the government, right? You don't put the guy who rapes children and is best friends with the world's most notorious pedophile in charge of disappearing families or whatever they're trying to do with ICE. I don't know, other than disappear people because the pedophile, whatever. Stupid time to be alive. What we know with research and the human brain is if you show people evidence of something contrary to their beliefs, they will either reject it or they will twist it to fit their belief. We, by and large, do not change many of our opinions based on facts and data and logic. We are mammals with primate brains, feel things and react according to how we feel. And I say that as somebody with like a strong research background and who's like, likes to be self-aware as best I can be and actively work to challenge my cognitive biases. Like, yeah, and we still all have cognitive biases. But yeah, humans will reject information. And so we see that over and over again. And so I think approaching this movie as there are no such thing as aliens or like whatever extraterrestrial life forms might exist in the universe, they're not here on Earth impersonating humans. Teddy is a pretty good representation of conspiratorial thinking. It's real dicey evidence he's citing. It's not very well qualified. It's certainly not validated. And every new bit of information he has confirms, serves as a confirmation bias. And so it's interesting, the portrayal there. Now, again, the movie flips this when it is revealed that she is actually an alien. Also, there's cut scenes when they're showing how many days are left to the lunar eclipse, which is when the alien ship will be available to teleport to or transport to or whatever. And it shows the Earth as like a circle, our normal picture of the land side of Earth. And as the days tick by, it tilts on its axis and reveals a flat Earth, which I thought was very, like, again, tongue in cheek and pretty funny. And again, just sort of like that wink and nod to, like, this is how conspiratorial thinking works, which I thought was very, very, like, subtle but well done. The other aspect of coercive control is Stavros, I don't know how to say his last name. He's like a podcast comedian kind of guy. Plays a cop, and he molested Teddy as a babysitter of Teddy when Teddy was younger, and he keeps like trying to apologize. It's very awkward and uncomfortable, and Teddy keeps being like, "Dude, it's fine." And then the cop is like, "No, it's not." And like, "Right, no, it's not." And like, he doesn't owe you anything. Like, he doesn't need to forgive you. He doesn't need to work through your guilt with you. You should stop probably bothering him about it and abusing your power as a cop to like pull him over to make him talk about it, or to show up unannounced to his house to make him talk about it. But like, again, very just obvious, like, yeah, here's where like this isn't consent based and it's not safe, and abusers grow up to be cops. Sure. Um, that part was like accurate and also heavy-handed, but fine, because they think like satire is dead and we need to be heavy-handed because people don't get the joke, obviously. The interesting thing then is so Teddy and the cop are having these interactions, and that leaves Don with the alien. And there's some, I think it's really, I think this is where the movie for me went from like fun but not that interesting to really interesting. Um, because at some point they put like this lotion, I forget what lotion, antihistamine lotion, because it blocks some of the alien's power to mind control you or whatever. And they chemically castrated themselves so they couldn't be mind controlled, and all these things to be like, we can't be controlled mentally. Um, and so Don and the alien are going back and forth, and the alien is trying to get Don to release her, to let her go. And when Teddy finds out the alien is royalty, they unchain her. He like keeps her handcuffed, and he does chain her to a chair. He doesn't want her running away, but he's going to treat her with better respect. She showers, and so the antihistamine lotion gets washed off. And then later, when the alien and Don are going back and forth, we're somewhat, I think, left to conclude that she can mind control Don, who is, again, has some sort of cognitive delay, and now he's somewhat defenseless, and he ends up shooting himself as a way to get out of the situation that he's very uncomfortable with. He's very uncomfortable with the torture that happened. He's very uncomfortable keeping her captive, but with the idea that the aliens will either like resurrect him, or that Teddy will be able to save him, or that like he and Teddy will be together for some sort of afterlife or alien utopia or whatever. It's not I want to die suicide. It's like to the afterlife suicide, which again speaks to like coercive control and cult mind control and thought control that we see in high control religions and other coercive movements. And like, again, I think that was all really well done, but there's a few like things that happen with the effects that are like, that happened during the torture scene. Is the alien using her power? Is it just like weirdly glitching? Is it light coming in from an outside window? And it's ambiguous, I think, enough, and I think people missed it. But it seems really important to me, was that a clear-cut decision for him, or was he manipulated into doing that by this alien who has some version of telekinesis. And I think that's really interesting. I think that is like a hook that makes me want to watch it again. Um, which I would argue, if you're a filmmaker, is probably what you want for your movies, that people want to watch them more than once. And it's sad and it's jarring. It, I feel like if you know things about filmmaking and storytelling, like you kind of see it coming before it happens. But everybody in my theater seems to be genuinely shocked by it. So maybe not. But maybe it was just me who's like, ooh, that's how Jonestown ends. Someone's killing themselves. That's what's gonna happen. But I didn't see it. Like, took me a minute to be like, she washed off the mind control stuff, and I thought that was like neat storytelling. A bit of show don't tell. I also didn't expect Teddy the serial killer. I did not expect the alien, when she escaped, to just explore Teddy's house instead of running away and then finding the other bodies. And then she's mad that he has killed 2 other aliens, because that's ruining her plan. And then she returns to the alien ship and pops the atmosphere, killing all the humans, which is, of all the things that sort of took me out of it, it's like, if you popped the atmosphere, then all the animals would die too. They also require oxygen. Probably not fish. Um, I don't know what happened to the water of the earth that the fish breathe if we didn't have an atmosphere. I assume that would have some negative impact. Biologists, let me know. But yeah, all the animals sort of exist while the humans die. And again, where I say it's a very human film is all the humans die. And if you're like, hey, Jeremy, did you like the movie where all the humans died at the end? Like, again, obviously, I'm not anti-humanity, but like, that's what happens. Everybody dies. I love a board game where we're like 8 hours in trying to fight off this eldritch horror that is all powerful, and then everyone dies, because like that's what should happen. You shouldn't win. Predator, alien, like whatever it is, like humans are not actually set up. It's not like resilience and machine guns will get us through everything. Like, obviously not. But it was this montage of dead humans, not like violently dead, just no longer alive. There's a lot of violence. Don shoots himself. Teddy blows himself up with a bunch of C4 right before he gets to the alien ship. I thought that was, again, that's what when I say black comedy, I thought that scene was very funny. And again, like at that point, you're pretty sure she is an alien, and then she gets to like her corporate office with Teddy, who's got like a shotgun in his pants. And you're like, no, she's human. She's trying to buy time. She's trying to get anybody to notice she's in danger to save her. Like, no, she's an alien. Really, it was her calculator was what she needed to get back to her ship. But it was just some of the deaths are brutal and funny. Stavros gets eaten by a bunch of bees. The bees become relevant. And also, colony collapse disorder. Yeah, it's good to point some awareness to like all the things we're doing to kill the things that make us food, make our food possible. So I was glad that the bees got a major point. But like at the end of the movie, the montage, all the people dead, and it's people from all walks of life, and it's sort of this idea again with this very human film of, if we don't take care of the climate, if we don't take care of each other, like their death is indiscriminate. Climate collapse, whatever version of human colony collapse disorder that we'll have, that bees have experienced because of humans, will not avoid the rich. And whatever bunker Zuckerberg and whatever Elon's doing with getting to Mars, which like is laughably not close to happening, it won't matter, right? Like they're still gonna die. Peter Thiel, his attempts to be a vampire, is still going to die. And that's sort of the great equalizer. And so if that's the case, like what if we stop making everything miserable for everybody? And the aliens, again, are not like some saving force good for the universe, other than like maybe they view us as like an unhealthy virus, which I don't know. That might be hard to argue. I think on the percentage, the small percentage of us who unfortunately have accumulated a lot of power and are making things worse for everybody, but that does seem to be a bit of a human trend. The uh the aliens aren't good either because again, it's sort of because she was treated poorly by a handful of humans. We're going to eradicate the human race. Is that where the aliens land? Is like this failed experiment of the humans that we were trying to interact with. Oh, she also has Teddy kill his mom, which is like rough. You're sort of led to believe that Teddy's mom died, and then at one point you find out Teddy is alive, and then she's like, "I have the antidote in my car," and he goes to take it and take it to his mom. And it's just antifreeze, so he kills his mom. Um, that's pretty brutal. Um, that's rough. It's rough. It's rough. But that also again like got a little of the conspiratorial thinking where it's like they will believe pretty much anything, and if you were like if you were applying any critical thinking, he has no reason to believe her then. Um, Now I do think, as I think about it, this is me processing in real time here. I do think she probably also had washed the lotion off by that point. So maybe Teddy was also vulnerable. You sort of are led to believe Teddy is more prepared to deal with the Andromedons, the aliens, than Don is. Um, so I guess on first watch, I caught it with Don, but I didn't think about it with Teddy. But that's probably also true. Where it's like, yeah, maybe that is a little out of character. But like that's the thing with there's no internal consistency with conspiratorial thinking, and so you could have somebody just like find this new piece of information and like go do something crazy with it because they just believe it right away. So anyway, for what was kind of a bleak black comedy, a little bit of a silly, we pop the bubble at the end of it so all the humans die because the aliens are mad at us. The aliens are also very comically dressed, and I thought that was funny. Um, and I'm glad the aliens kept the bees and the dogs for sure. But yeah, it was good. I don't know. It's a remake of somebody else's film, I guess. Is well done, really well shot and directed and acted. Um, it's not my favorite Yorgos Lanthimos film, but it's fun. It will continue my trend of seeing his movies in theater because I like to experience the oddity and the visceral reactions of other humans. I was gonna say like gore, but like I don't know that all his films have been gory. Um, I liked Lobster. I liked Killing of the Sacred Deer. Poor Things was like the first movie that got me back that I saw like post COVID in a theater again. So Yorgos Lanthimos films I enjoy seeing on the big screen. I have decided. Um, yeah, it was fun. I want to see it again. I probably won't go see it again in theater, but I'll catch it on streaming and watch it for sure. It's dark, it's violent. So if you're not in a place to handle either of those things, maybe don't watch it. Just mention of an older babysitter molesting a child. There's a torture scene. Like, yeah, there's some stuff in there that's rough, and there's some very darkly funny things that go on in it. Um, it's good. I enjoyed it. I don't know that it's standout enough. I think Jesse Plemons is so good in it. He's in a lot of things lately, though. He should win an award somewhere. My obviously exposure, like many people's, to him was Breaking Bad. In the bad seasons of Breaking Bad, bonus content here. My thoughts on Breaking Bad. Seasons 1 through 3 are phenomenal television. Seasons 4 and 5 are bad, and people who say it's like a perfect show for all 5 seasons just bought its own hype and lost track of it. Jesse Plemons was also really good in Fargo. His season that he's in Fargo, he just seems to be good at this acting thing. So yeah, I want to see him win an award, but I don't know that it'd be for this movie, even though I think his performance was very good. And Emma Stone as well. They're just really quite excellent in this film. And I had a lot of fun dissecting the film and the layers, and I think it is a good bit of coercive control, and I think it's a good bit of how that scales from a CEO controlling a society to a cousin controlling his cognitively impaired cousin. And that doesn't make you feel good, but that's what the movie is talking about. So yeah, Bugonia. Pretty fun little film. Some fun little layers beyond like the bleak black comedy of it all. So I really enjoyed it. I think you should watch it when you get the chance. Let's see. What else do I have? I just finished season 2 of Sopranos, so that will come up soon, I think. Sopranos, the show, has been great. I'm souring on the psychiatrist in Sopranos. So we'll have a longer review of that coming up, and I'll continue to do song reviews and other stuff. So if you got something you want me to talk about, drop down in the comments, like, subscribe, do all those YouTubey things that help YouTubers YouTube my YouTube. It's a stupid sentence that made sense. And yeah, I appreciate the likes and subscribes, etc. All right, take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. Peace. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Peace for real.